Hi guys, it's Dean from Extreme Car Cleaning, and today's little project is a Ford Festiva. These family cars are always a lot of fun to work on, and they're a lot of work. What I decided to do was get everything out of the car, get it out of my way, and then I can start with my detail. And there was no lack of dirt, dust, grime, you name it, it's in this car, including a little surprise in the trunk. An entire gallon of motor oil spilled in the back of this vehicle. So it saturated the trunk liner, it got on the seats, it got everywhere around the back of the vehicle. And it wasn't very easy to clean up either. So what I ended up doing was I took everything out and then I mopped it up with some old rags I had around the shop, cleaned everything up, put it back, and then continued on with my detail. I always like to start at the back and work my way up to the front. It's just a lot easier. I usually start vacuuming, get the heavy stuff out of the car, and then I blow everything forward. Then what I do is I work on the parts that I've taken out of the car and get them all clean as well. This trunk liner took a lot of work because there was a lot of oil in it, so I pretty much used everything I had at my disposal to get this thing to come clean. After rinsing, I hung it out to dry. Next thing I started on was the channel in the trunk. I got all that cleaned up. It's so much easier if you work in stages and you work towards the front of the vehicle. That's what we found anyways. I prefer to use the Tornado gun as opposed to the power washer because it doesn't get the interior as wet and it actually does a fantastic job. I also like to use a chamois and a hot pail of water so that I can wring the chamois out continuously and get my jobs done a lot quicker. Steam is great at removing all kinds of sticky stuff and help break it down so we can get it out of the vehicle. The more tools you have, the easier it is to get a job done. We even use a bug pad for doing the headliner because even with the slightest amount of chemical on your bug pad, it makes it really easy to clean it up. And then you just wipe it down with a damp chamois after and you're all set. We also find it's a lot easier to do an extensive vacuuming before you start cleaning because if you get most of the stuff out of the way, it's just going to make the job so much easier when you're trying to clean. The next thing we do is grab our Typhoon gun. This gun is amazing. It moves so much air and it does a fantastic job of blowing out underneath the seats, in between the console and the seat, all your dashboard, all your little cracks and crevices in the vehicle, any compartments you have, anywhere that you cannot get with the vacuum. This does an amazing job of getting the dust, dirt, and debris out of your way so you can continue on with your cleaning and do a much more effective job. We use Zep Citrus Cleaner in our foam sprayer to clean all our fabric and carpet on the inside of the vehicle. Not only does it work well, but it's very cost effective. We use an air scrubber from Princess Auto, and we order our brushes from Carzilla. This combination is amazing. It's a nice soft brush. It does a great job at cleaning fabric and carpet as well. Steam is an essential part of our 5-stage award-winning service. Steam adds a whole nother level to cleaning. It gets out anything that's stuck in there. It also helps loosen up any liquids that might be in the fabric, and it makes it a lot easier when you're going to do the extraction process. By scrubbing and steaming ahead of time, you've loosened up a lot of the stuff in the fabric. It makes it a lot easier to extract. This way here you don't have to put as much moisture in with the extractor to pull out all the stains from your carpet or fabric. It's important because you want to get as much dirt out as possible and use the least amount of liquid to do that. These mats were trashed, so we power washed as much dirt and oil as we could out of them. Then we went right after it with the citrus foam. Now the citrus foam does a great job of starting to break down grease and oil that's in the mat. So that way there, when we go at it with our air scrubber, that's going to already start the process and it makes it a lot easier for us to loosen up even more dirt and debris out of that carpet. And when something is this trashed, you want to go over it several times and loosen up as much dirt and oil as you possibly can. Now the steamer here you can see is breaking down a lot of that oil and grease that's packed into that mat. Now this is going to give you a whole nother level to clean. This is not a process we do on a general cleaning. This is something that's totally trash and the customer is paying a premium price for this service. Then we take our power washer again with our rotary tip and we rinse out as much foam as we can out of that carpet. Now this isn't the last process because we're going to take our extractor. Now we take the extractor and we suck up as much water as we can out of that mat, try and get it as dry as we possibly can so that these mats will dry quick and they won't be damp in the vehicle. The Typhoon gun helps to remove more moisture out of the mat and it leaves all the fabric nice and loose so that the mat can dry even quicker, leaving them nice and dry for the customer. The rest of the car we use the same methods. We foam them, we steam them thoroughly and get everything loose, and then we hit them up with the extractor. As you can see, it does pull up a lot of dirt and oil and grease out of the seats. Now if you look at the canister here, you can see exactly how much dirt and oil and grease and grime we're pulling out of the seat. Now we wouldn't have been able to do that unless we pre-treated it, scrubbed it, and used the steamer on it before we went and extracted. The Tornado gun is fantastic at getting in where we cannot get in with the extractor, and many other parts of the car where we just can't reach with other tools. These front seats were heavily soiled and full of stains, so it took a few passes to get everything to come out. Just look at how much dirt we were able to pull out of those front seats. For the carpet, we use a little more foam than we do with the seats. Now the carpet has a rubber backing on it, so it won't get saturated like you would with the car seat, because the car seat is just a big sponge. But then you want to go after it with your air scrubber and loosen everything up thoroughly. Later on, when you take your steamer to it, it's going to come out. Now the Tornado gun comes in very handy for doing the edges. You want to blow everything down to the bottom of the carpet so that you can easily extract it. Now with your extractor, not only do you want to go and extract as much as you possibly can, but you want to make sure that you dry it as well. When the vents are super nasty, I like to take a little bit of APC, spray it on my detail brush, and get in there and loosen everything up. Then I rinse it out with my steamer and blow it out with my Typhoon gun, leaving it nice and dry and clean. These little scrubbers come from Carzilla, and they're actually pretty handy. You have a nice little grip on the back of them. They get into tight little areas, and they're great, especially if you've got a nasty dashboard to clean. When we're wiping down the textured material inside of a car, we just use a regular general purpose microfiber. This one just happens to be a Kirkland towel, but any general purpose microfiber will do a fine job of cleaning textured plastic surfaces. The only time you have to be concerned is if you're dealing with something that's a nice smooth finished surface like polished plastic or your LCD screen. Anything like that that's delicate, you would want to use a very plush microfiber. Now to start the door panel, I use my little scrubber with Masterson Super Cleaner. You can use pretty much any APC to do it. It doesn't have to be a specific one, but that's the one we use here. And we also will use a detail brush as well, because a detail brush gets in areas where the little scrubber can't. And to finish this door off, what we're going to do is we're going to take our Tornado gun, we're going to rinse that door panel down, and it gets into all the cracks and creases that we cannot get in with the other tools. So this is a fantastic job. When we're done rinsing the door, then what we'll do is we'll turn the Tornado gun on air only, blow it down, and then we'll take our microfiber and we'll wipe that door panel right down, get everything all nice and dry. Now obviously the two front doors are usually the dirtiest, so you want to take your time and you want to make sure that they're done properly. Make sure you check it all over, and when you're done the service, sit in the driver's seat and look all the way around the car and make sure that everything looks good from the driver's view. Now the steering wheel is one of the smallest parts of the car, but it's the nastiest, and it needs the most amount of care. So you want to take your time and make sure that you do a proper job of cleaning that steering wheel. You want to get all the grooves. You want to get behind the steering wheel where their hands are on there constantly. You want to make sure the grip of the wheel itself is clean all the way around. You want to make sure that all of your little selectors, anything on that steering wheel is absolutely spotless. You want to make sure that wheel is clean, because that's the first thing that the driver is going to touch. That's the first thing that they're going to see when they get in the car. So you want to make sure that that is as clean as you can possibly get. As far as I'm concerned, you can never spend enough time making sure that that steering wheel is absolutely picture perfect, because that's going to sell the detail. If that wheel's not clean, then the customer is not going to be happy. So you want to make sure that you take your time, and in this case too, use a very nice general purpose microfiber, because it does cut the grease pretty good. So once you've cleaned it up and loosened everything up, that microfiber should do a really good job of ripping that dirt right off of that wheel for you. Okay, make sure that you do use either a tornado gun, or if you don't have that, at least get everything loose and use an air gun to blow everything out. Thanks for watching, and for more tips, check us out on YouTube at Extreme Car Cleaning. Bye.